Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and ooh, mysterious musical change. That means something important is going to happen. But in any case, welcome back to Devil May Cry. I'd say we pretty much crossed the halfway threshold of the game at this stage, because, well, musical shift, kind of indicative of that. While there are only 22 missions in the game, maybe a little bit over halfway, but in the meantime though, last time we acquired the Wheel of Destiny, and now we're making our way back to the beginning. But first, a complete blue orb. Yeah, you can actually get complete versions of those, and well, let's just say if you're looking to max out your health all the way through, it requires doing all the secret missions. Guess what I failed to do, so no max health for Dante. But all the same though, I suppose before we talk about anything else, well, first of all we're gonna go out here, and then we're gonna go back inside. It's a bit too scary in there, but yes. The hallway, the stairway of tranquility. Yeah, anyway, a rather unique secret mission actually, where we don't actually have to kill anything. Well, sort of unique. It's basically similar to when we had to climb on top of those sin sites, but this one, well, is more platform focused. Try and jump your way up there using your air step, and well, yeah, if you fail, the Sargassos, which is the skull enemies you're seeing right here, well, yeah, they'll pretty much stop laughing at me. Poor Dante. Yeah, it's also worth noting that in terms of demon stuff, Sargassos are pretty much dwellers between the human world and, well, the underworld, so yeah, they're the most likely phantoms that people will see. Images of death. But you wouldn't get that with how they laugh at you. Laugh, without any lungs or tongues, they just chatter their skulls together. Stop laughing. But anyway, just you know, try in vain to platform up there, and by the time that you do, yeah, make sure that you don't waste your air hike, otherwise, well, you're gonna have to do a lot more getting up there. I also kind of like the little effect that I actually have, like in order to justify a double jump that they have, you know, a little temporary demon platform for Dante to perform a second jump with. I don't know, I found it to be a nice way to describe the physics-defying double jump that used to be in video games, but isn't really much of a thing anymore. Rather sadly, really, because double jumps in games are fun. Ah, yes. And when you're finished, the Sargassos sink into the ocean. Oh no, Dante has succeeded in his mission. Now we cannot make fun of him anymore. Ah, victory. In the meantime, though, as we once again have to fight more sin sites. God, why do I keep messing that up? Yeah, I want to talk about something that I didn't really have too much of a chance to talk about beforehand, and, you know, even then I was recording like a 38-minute part, leave me alone. Well, 38 before editing, so, yeah. It's actually to do with, you know, the relation of Mundus's henchman versus, you know, the big man himself. You know, I mean, again, he is obviously presented as, you know, the big evil bad guy sort of hanging back or whatever, but I don't know, just the different ways in which, you know, a lot of your main bosses react as, you know, loyal servants of Mundus. Like, I mean, Phantom seemed relatively just sort of, I'm an evil demon, short and stout. I'm really just here to kill Dante to feed my children, really. But as apart from that, though, like, Griffin and... Well, would you consider Devil May Cry 5 character assassination given how he appears there, but, yeah, it's neither here nor there in this case. Yeah, the way in which Griffin reacted, not only in terms of, you know, absolute fear of Mundus, but really his loyalty, which, I don't know, I feel like it does sort of, not only build up the whole thread of what, Griffin was like to begin with, but also, you know, showcasing the power and level of respect that Mundus commands. They did a really good job of characterizing here, which is more than what I can say for a lot of other Devil May Cry bosses, which are either underdeveloped or shit, really. Or Virgil, you know. Gonna take future games into account here, because really, half the games in the series wouldn't exist without him, for better or for worse, but I stay my tongue on that. It's best not to badmouth and speak ill of the dead. Well, as far as we're aware, anyway. Yeah, to kind of talk about the sound design as well, you probably won't be hearing it over my waffling commentary, but, yeah, the sounds of, dead animals howling in the distance. Yeah, you could also hear it, technically when you first ventured out here, but, yeah, very creepy sound design. And it is that element of creepiness that I do kind of miss from the Devil May Cry series. The games... 3 still sort of had it, but it was very much where the series shifted from less, you know, atmospheric action horror kind of thing towards more anime, really. And, well, to be honest, it really did kind of suffer quite a bit from that. I mean, again, that's more of a personal choice, I will admit, but I don't know. The games have been lesser without it, but alas, the Wheel of Destiny. Play the game and spin the wheel. Load up the cannons. Fire a laser. And win the prize. What is our prize? More gameplay. Oh, you spoil us, Devil May Cry. You spoil us. But anyway, as we return to the castle, we might be noticing a few things different. Namely that, if you recall, during some of the original text readings that we found in the library and all over the castle, things have gotten a bit more mysterious. What's that over there? The door is gone. I don't remember those knights being there before. Maybe the hallway will give us some answers. That was where the puppets were located. Perhaps we need to find someplace else. A curse wall. I'm getting the juice bumps. Okay, I'm not really going to play the horror anymore, but there is one important detail I do want you to notice. First of all, you know, that knight sitting on top of that statue. And speaking of statues, the one in the main hallway is gone. You know, that three-eyed, godly-looking fellow. It's disappeared. They do say that during the night, you will find lunar hauntings. But yeah, we see another one of those little, you know, demonic seals we have to attack, so, there we go. A nice little kick, and then we shall see our prize. Plasmas. Now, these are basically mimics that take the form of, well, a bat enemy, as well as taking the form of Dante. Sort of. It takes the form of actually an earlier version of Dante that actually had more of a regular jacket as opposed to, you know, the trench coat that he's wearing right now. Part of the reason why that was changed was, I guess, first of all, to differentiate him from Tony Redgrave, as was meant to be his Resident Evil 4 outfit. The second reason of which basically being that Shinji Mikami thought the trench coat looked cooler. So there we go. But yeah, anyway, the plasmas can pretty much change form between an electric bat or Dante form. They'll either have that big fuck-off laser beam like that, or they'll try and mimic some of Dante's moves, particularly with the swords or with their fists. So, yeah. They're nowhere near as hard as they otherwise should be, but, yeah. I mean, they do have a lot of ranged attacks, so they will have a chance to pip you every which way and sideways. It's really just more of me trying to get my money's worth out of the Nightmare beta for, you know, showing it off for commentary purposes, so, yeah. That's really all she wrote here. Again, similar in case to Griffin, actually, you don't have to worry about, you know, using Elastor against them. Elastor does still do damage, despite their lightning properties, so, yeah, nothing really to worry about. Now, let us press on through the darkness. Evil has found its place here. But yeah, I mean, you can sort of see it right then and there. Like, I mean, how they sort of replicate the original Dante, and even in and of itself, some of the splash screens that tell you how to do certain moves, or, especially Super Dante, actually showcases Dante with his original jacket, so, yeah, I'd imagine the whole trench coat thing was added a bit later in development. Well, I mean, then again, this was the PS2 era, so, like, having floaty textures, was a bit of a rarity, especially for stuff like, you know, clothing and, hair physics. Although, speaking of which, Devil May Cry 2 would actually give Dante slight hair physics for some reason, but... Wait, the lower area, it is gone! Yes, well, the biplane is still there, Carnival, and now we may press on to new adventures. And, kind of speaking of the plasmas, actually, the fact that they transform into a bat, you might be remembering Resident Evil 0, where I once drew comparison towards the fact that, you know, there was a bat-like enemy intended for Resident Evil 4, and something similar appears in Devil May Cry. I do have to wonder if the Bat Enemy... Well, I mean, obviously the Bat Enemy was later reused for Resident Evil 0, but I do have to wonder if it was initially intended for here, and that's not going to be the only enemy that I think was originally taken from, you know, Devil May Cry Resident Evil 4. That was later implemented into Resident Evil 0, because a lot of early Force concepts that originated from Resident Evil 4 Stylish did eventually make their way into games such as, well, okay, Devil May Cry, obviously, but then also Resident Evil 0, so... I don't know, I am quite curious to see what other enemies made it in, although we will be seeing one that, well, to kind of cut a long story short, Leech Queen. Queenie, suck on this, or was it eat this? Fuck it, I can't remember. One of Billy Cohen's lines who would never appear again, unless the grim fate is that he was eaten by zombies, which is grim in and of itself, but, whatever. I mean, Rebecca's back at the very least, in Death Island, I believe, so there's that. But the door has vanished due to mysterious, dark, evil powers. Scary. Or is that also to do with how other Resident Evil characters disappeared? Anyway, welcome back to the cathedral. There's some dark, mucky shit all over the floor. What is it saying, Dante? A strong surge of evil coming from the puddle of water. There's a voice in my head, saying something. One who knocks on the gate to the underworld. Line. Shall borrow the strength from the blue stone. Well, ladies and dudes, this is Nightmare. Can somebody say James Marcus and his leech creatures? Well, because that's what we're pretty much seeing here, and, yeah. Hit the little circles with, you know, all the demonic runes on the side, and make sure you turn the Nightmare creature solid. As you can see here, it's basically a giant version of the Nightmare Beta. And, well, yeah, it has a giant fuck-off laser beam, it has several smaller cannons just to sort of pip you every which way and sideways, and, yeah, it's basically trying to consume you into its fold. Again, very James Marcus, and, it does seem like a very early version of the leech creature, which can also, you know, gradually try and train itself if you leave it in its non-soluble form. So, yeah, basically wait for it to expose one of its cores over there. Make sure you have some double trigger to go around and lay off the smackdown. Again, it will eventually close its cores, so I mean, you do have to be quick, and truth be told, I probably could have done a much better job of trying to take it down rather than just having, you know, the fucking Ifrit gauntlets, which... yeah, it didn't really seem to be doing me a lot of justice right here, and if Nightmare consumes you, well, this is Nightmare's realm. So yeah, let's switch back to Ebony and Ivory, let's get shot by some pistols again. And, oh, maybe the grenade launcher. So yeah, basically what happens whenever you face off against this creature, because again, it adheres to the rule of three akin to both Phantom and Griffin, so... yeah, you're gonna be facing off against a few Sargassos, and a face from the past. I believe there was actually a little bit of unclarity back when this game first came out as to what exactly this was, apart from, well, again, the typical Capcom boss rush, you know, in typical Mega Man fame. Yeah, like, early sources seem to indicate that this was based on Dante's nightmares of, well, I mean, I'm guessing what was meant to be the nightmares of, you know, what happened when Mundus, you know, killed Sparta and Eva, his parents, and, well, what we're meant to believe is Virgil at this stage, so, yeah, apparently this was meant to be Dante's nightmares, although we later learn in Devil May Cry 5 that this is actually meant to be Virgil's nightmares of his, well, let's just say of, his time, well, trapped under Mundus' thumb. What do I mean by that? Ooh, well, you'll just have to see. But anyway, this also results in you having to fight weaker variants of the bosses you faced before, like, Phantom over here. And it looks a lot more like its Resident Evil incarnation. But then again, that's probably just because they've darkened the character model a little bit and, made it look a little bit more like blood. Hope it is not Dante's blood, even though he bleeds everywhere. But yeah, on the off chance that you do happen to get captured by Nightmare and its tendrils of darkness, well, there is a good reason why you want to do that, because escape from the portal and... rise from the ooze, and you take off a good chunk of its health. Although if you do get caught again, basically, well, you get to fight all those bosses again, except it doesn't take off health, so only do it once, and no more. But yeah, apart from all that though, now that we have some Devil Trigger, now we are seriously kicking some ass. Primarily thanks to Inferno and Kick 13. So yeah, I mean, the only real... I don't want to say that I'm disappointed with Ifrit and, you know, by extension Beowulf and most other punchy weapons from the Devil May Cry series, but... Well, apart from the ones in 4, that one was actually pretty sweet. I think it was the weapon you got from Echidna, but that's neither here nor there in this case. The point is that, again, Ifrit is incredibly fucking slow when you don't have it, so I mean, if you got some Devil Trigger, yeah, that's probably about the best usage you're really gonna get out of Ifrit, but then again, I still prefer the flight capabilities and a lot of the stuff that, you know, Alastor gives you, so that weapon unfortunately still wins out with me, so... Yes, flying away, ignoring the janky-ass platforming. And again, if you'll remember beforehand when we, you know, were trying to jump down there, yeah, basically, well, yeah, platforms crumble and collapse and you gotta do that little puzzle sequence all over again. By which I mean destroying the Sargassus and rising upward. But anyway, now that that's all done and out of the way, we can introduce this thing, the Staff of Hermes, mon! Let my people go! And our next mission gives us a taste of what's to come. We Super Mario 64 up in this bitch. And now we get to pick one or the other. But that's the end of the story, and the end of the mission. So I'm Solidus-Skully. Keep it new metal. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It could be the power of the underworld. Catch you dudes and dudettes later, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.